Today we're making one of my favorite pastries, easy Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake. Before we begin, I'd like to share a little history and a very special childhood memory. Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake is one of St. Louis, Missouri's most beloved pastries. Food historians believe it was created accidentally during the 1930s when a German-American baker mistakenly prepared the topping for a traditional yeast-raised coffee cake. During the Great Depression, ingredients were too valuable to throw away, so the bakery baked the cake and sold it anyway. Customers loved it, and what began as a happy accident became one of St. Louis's most treasured pastries. The original Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake is still made today with a sweet yeast dough and its famous sweet cheese and buttery topping. The version we're making today is the easy home recipe that became popular years later using yellow cake mix and cream cheese. It captures the same rich, creamy goodness while being simple enough for anyone to make. This recipe brings back some wonderful memories for me. In 1964, when I was in grade school, my mom, sibling, and I lived with my grandfather in St. Louis, Missouri. 3 or 4 mornings each week, I had a special adventure before school. Mom would wake me up extra early, and I'd dress. Then I headed downstairs. Mom placed a few dollars into my hand and sent me across the alley to our neighborhood bakery to buy a fresh Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake. Around 7 o'clock each morning, I'd walk through the bakery's back door. The bakers always greeted me with warm smiles and cheerful good mornings. A couple of them loved to dab a little flour on my nose. I'd sneeze into my sleeve while everyone laughed. It was such a happy way to begin the day. With our warm Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake carefully in hand, I'd head back across the alley. By then, the milkman had delivered fresh cold milk to the house. Mom would have a cold glass waiting for me and a fresh cup of coffee ready for herself. Together we'd enjoy a slice of Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake before I headed off to school. It was the very first cream cheese pastry I had ever tasted, and I was completely hooked. Sweet, creamy, buttery, and perfectly gooey. It was always a special treat. Not long afterward, my dad returned home from military service, and our family moved to California. For many years, authentic St. Louis Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake became a treasured memory. When some family members needed to visit St. Louis, they'd return with several gooey butters. Eventually, we discovered this easy homemade version. While it isn't the original yeast-raised bakery recipe, it brings back those wonderful memories every time I make it. Today, Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake has become one of our family's traditions. We serve it every Easter and Mother's Day, and I even created a pumpkin version that my family now requests instead of pumpkin pie every Thanksgiving. Today I'm sharing our favorite summer version with you. I hope it brings as much joy to your family as it has brought to mine over the years. So, let's head into the kitchen and make Culinary's Easy Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake. Assemble your ingredients on the island. You should have a box of yellow cake mix, an egg, and 1 stick of butter for the crust. For the creamy topping ingredients, you should have an 8-ounce package of cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, 2 eggs, 4 cups powdered sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Sometimes I change it up and use lemon, orange, or almond extract. At Christmas, you could try peppermint. Take a 9 by 13-inch Pyrex dish and sprayed it generously with cooking spray, sides and bottom. Set aside. In a bowl, place the cake mix, the melted stick of butter, and the beaten egg. Mix until it resembles a crumble sticky dough. Pat the dough evenly in the prepared Pyrex dish. Pat around the edges and bottom. Now it is time for the yummy filling. In the mixing bowl, add the softened cream cheese and the melted stick of butter and the 2 beaten eggs. Mix thoroughly until nice and smooth. I only use 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese. My relative likes to add more cream cheese and a little more sugar. Once you make it as the recipe calls for, then you can start experimenting with other flavors and ingredients. Next, slowly beat in the box of powdered sugar, scraping sides of the bowl with a spatula. Add the vanilla extract. I use a teaspoon. Mix thoroughly. Now, pour the cream cheese mixture on top of the crust mixture in the Pyrex dish. Gently use a spatula to spread the mixture over the crust evenly. Place the coffee cake on the middle rack of a 350-degree preheated oven. Bake for 40 to 45 minutes. Don't let the edges burn. Check at 40 minutes. As long as it isn't soupy gooey but set and the crust is golden, It's time to take it out and let it cool on a wire rack. After the Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake has thoroughly cooled, put powdered sugar in a sifter and gently shake it over the coffee cake until it resembles a light snowfall over the coffee cake. It is finally ready to enjoy. Brew a pot of coffee, sit down with friends, and enjoy easy Gooey-Butter Coffee Cake. Our tip is next. One thing I think we all should pay attention to is how much plastic we are consuming. I watched Diary of a CEO today, and Stephen Bartlett had on the longevity scientist, Rhonda Patrick. She is the author of Found My Fitness, a YouTube channel. She said we are consuming an alarming amount of plastic in our lifestyle choices and diets. We have plastic coffee makers, plastic toothbrushes and bristles. Our condiments are sold in plastics. We pack our kids' lunches in plastic. Even our silicone cooking utensils have a percentage of plastic in them. And that is just to name a few. Even shopping receipts have a harmful plastic coating on them. I researched the question, are plastics endocrine disruptors? This is what I found out and why we should be alarmed enough to change. Yes, plastics are a pervasive source of endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs, that pose significant threats to human health. Plastics contain and leach hazardous additives such as bisphenol A, BPA, phthalates, flame retardants, PFAS, alkylphenols, UV stabilizers, and toxic metals like lead and cadmium, which disturb the body's hormone systems. These chemicals can mimic, block, or interfere with natural hormones, leading to a wide range of adverse health effects including reproductive disorders, reduced fertility, altered sperm quality, and developmental issues in fetuses and children, metabolic diseases, increased risk of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular problems, neurological impacts, impaired brain development, behavioral problems, and learning disabilities, cancer, elevated risks for hormone-sensitive cancers such as breast, prostate, and ovarian cancer. Exposure is universal, with nearly all people carrying EDCs in their bodies through ingestion, inhalation, and dermal contact. Importantly, microplastics and nanoplastics not only leach these chemicals, but can also bind and accumulate toxic compounds from the environment, acting as carriers for EDCs. Research also indicates that even the plastic particles themselves, such as nylon, polyamide, can produce endocrine-disrupting effects when inhaled. Biodegradable plastics are not a safe alternative, as they often contain similar chemical additives and exhibit comparable endocrine-disrupting properties. Compiled from a Google search. Here at Culinary, we're going to get away from plastics as much as possible. We will be using wooden cooking utensils, glassware, and glass food storage. Please join us in this endeavor to free ourselves from plastic overload. Thank you for watching. God bless you. God loves you. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share. We will see you next week.